What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to do with you guys. This is another fixed blade, 2 in 1 week, right? The Reeve Nyala. This is an absolutely beautiful fixed blade. Once again, a very generous lending from Shaker MT. So if you see him down in the comments section, give him a thumbs up. Niala, apparently, this is a Reeve knife. For anybody who's not familiar with Reeve, he makes the Sebenza 21. That's probably the knife that he's most famous for. Definitely, he's the maker of what was the original Holy Trinity of knives in that caliber, being Rick Hinderer, Mick Strider, and like I just said, Reeve. Very important figure in the knife world. He is the grandfather of the frame lock. Invented the ceramic detent ball lock face surface. I believe, and then also developed S30V and S35VN. Pretty important stuff, definitely. Most people know that, but just in case, I know there's a lot of new people who watch my channel, so I just wanted to help out there. Nyala apparently means, it's like a type of antelope from South Africa, and it's apparently one of Reeve's favorite South African animals, or animals overall. Interesting. Anyways, this is a very, very beautiful blade. I can't wait to talk about it. I've got a lot to say about it. I don't want to ruin anything, so I want to get into it. I just want to let you guys know, because I forget to talk about this, I do have Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. I'm just about to 1,000, so I would appreciate the follow. If not, that's totally fine. If you're new to my channel, I like to do knife reviews and overviews such as the one you're seeing here. I like to do unboxings, discussion videos, and I've got a Knife Guy series on Sundays. So if that sounds good to you and you like regular content uploads, this might be the channel for you. Go ahead and hit subscribe and make sure your notifications are set to all. Let's go ahead and get a measurement on this guy. Overall length of the Reeve Nyala coming in at 8.5 inches. Boy, I gotta tell you, that's just, at least for me, it's a really good length. Now, I'll let you guys know, like I did in the Curahi video, I am not a fixed blade expert. I don't have a lot of uses for a fixed blade, but I'm a knife guy, so I still like them. And I still search for what I would consider to be the most ideal one. But just keep in mind, everything that I say here is going to be based on my own personal opinion and my own personal usage habits. There are a ton of survivalist channels out there that can better explain the pros and cons of a fixed blade and what they can be used for. I'm a regular guy. I'm an office guy. I do some outdoor activities and projects in my backyard on the weekends, but that's pretty much it. So in terms of my need for a fixed blade, pretty limited, but I want to be honest about where you guys are getting this information from. So anyways, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1, you can see there, oh, a lot of you are going, oh, that looks so perfect. I thought that knife was bigger, and then you put it up against the Rat, it's so perfect. Yeah. 8.6 inches there on the Rat. So you can see it's about the same size. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 coming in at 8.3 inches overall, just a little bit shorter there. How about up against the Ontario Rat Model 1? Ontario Rat Model 1. The Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall. And last but not least, up against the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 coming in at 7.25 inches. I know you guys are like, you're comparing it all with folding knives. This is primarily a folding knife channel, so this is what I've got to work with. Go ahead and give you guys an example of the action. Blah, jokes. It's a fixed blade. It doesn't have that type of action. Let's go ahead and measure the blade thickness here, just because I've got the calipers in my hand. Blade thickness on this guy coming in at 150 thousandths. Really? It's only 150 thousandths? 160 thousandths, I think, is probably more accurate. It looks to be roughly the same thickness as a Hinderer XM18. I'll pull one out here real quick so you guys can see. Yeah, it looks to be about the same thickness as a Hinderer XM18, so 160 thousandths is likely accurate. Let's go ahead and weigh this guy. Another factor that I really like about it is overall weight, but we need to make sure that the scale is zeroed out first. Okay, overall weight coming in at 5.75 ounces. Can we go again? 5.78 ounces. That to me is just a beautiful weight for a fixed blade. What an excellent weight. No problem. Listen, if I'm going to go camping or hiking, I would carry a fixed blade with me, even if I didn't really use it hardly at all the whole time. I have no problem carrying. I have folding knives that I carry on a regular basis that are over that weight, so I have no problem with that whatsoever, especially considering here that we have I didn't measure the blade length, did I? We have a blade length coming in at just shy of 4 inches. It's probably about 3.9 inches and a cutting edge of about 3.6 inches overall. I am totally fine with that weight on a fixed blade, especially in those dimensions. That's really, really cool. Let me go ahead and give you guys a close-up of this blade. This is very similar to how Chris Reeve does all of his blades. I've handled multiple Chris Reeve knives now. I've handled the Umnumzon and the oh my gosh, I'm stuttering around it. The Nkosi, the Sebenza 21. All of his knives, in terms of the quality, the final touches he puts on everything. Sorry, I'm putting my phone in airplane mode. It all just comes out perfect, and it's so consistent. This feels so nice to the touch. Those of you who remember me talking about the glassy, smooth finishes of a Les George knife, that's what you're getting here. It literally feels different. All of these little tiny edges, good Lord, we're knocking the camera around a lot today. All of these little edges, you can see up close, the rounding and everything. I mean, this is just so nice. And on top of that, the spine of this knife is actually crowned, giving it yet another level of visual and physical comfort. You guys can imagine there what I'm trying to say. We have a swedge, this beautiful drop point blade. We have a swedge that runs about 70% the length of the blade and then tapers towards the tip. A small swedge coming off of an area with some nice semi-aggressive jimping, and then lots of room to drop towards the cutting edge with some excellent belly. This is an example of a perfect drop point blade. Very functional drop point blade, very beautiful, very elegant, nice tumbling you can see there. It's been used just a little bit. We have a few scratches on here, but the tumbling doing a good job hiding that. Nice sharpening choil, nice room for some clamps if you want to clamp it into a KME system. Just wonderful all the way around. It's so beautiful. And the edge, it comes to a nice thin edge, but a good working tool edge as well. I mean, I could imagine using this for just about anything. The other thing I love about the blade, it just says Idaho made. Nothing else. Everything else is sterile. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for doing it that way. S35VN steel, that would probably be my steel choice. You've got good toughness, good edge retention. It was developed by the very guy who made the knife. So I'm going to trust that it's heat treated correctly. Generally around 60 Rockwell, 59, 60 Rockwell is where they get these. And stainless. So great, I mean, in terms of the dimensions and the general durability of the steel, and my trust and the fact that it was heat treated correctly, I mean, this is just an absolutely wonderful utilitarian blade shape. The whole setup is just perfect. It's very beautiful. Moving down here to the handle, what we have are some tan or sort of dark brown canvas micarta scales. They do taper a little bit. Unlike on the Ranch Bowie, where it was sort of blocky and was thick and just came right in here at 90 degrees, it does sort of taper down. That makes for a really nice look and kind of gives you an area to pinch on it right here. I don't know why you would do that, but if you needed to, it's comfortable right here. It doesn't matter what position you're in. It's very, very comfortable. Speaking of comfort, despite the texturing on these scales looking somewhat aggressive, it's actually unbelievably comfortable. There's contouring here. This is a cylindrical handle. He's made sort of this cylinder shape all the way around, and in hand, you're not only is it filled out, but every position where your finger is running up against something right here, underneath where the blade starts, or the finger guard, all of this is nicely rounded off. It's unbelievably comfortable. It's even crowned right here on the inside. So no matter what type of cutting you're going to do and for what period of time you're going to do it, I could imagine this thing being an absolute workhorse, a comfortable workhorse for an extended period of time. This might be like if I had to do like some sort of continuous cutting task, right? this would be my go-to knife just based on my experience with handling it in a whole. And I spent a lot of time holding this thing and imagining different circumstances, and none of this is based on actual use, but I have handled and used a lot of folding knives, and I know what it feels like to have a knife become uncomfortable in your hand, right? This is a knife that just, it simply has all the lines to be unbelievably comfortable. This is just great. And visually, I really enjoy this texture. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of that color, but it does come in a black canvas micarta, which is what I would choose, definitely. And for those of you who are not fond of the drop point blade or would just like to see it in a different shape, fear not, because it comes in his Insingo blade shape, or his sheep's foot blade, which I'm sure a lot of people would really like. I've talked about this before. I think the two best EDC blade shapes that are out there, or at least my favorites, are the drop point and the sheep's foot. Now, once you cross into fixed blade territory, arguments can be made for a multitude of different blade shapes, as is generally the case with folding knives too, but fantastic blade shapes no matter what you're going to be doing outside. Whether it's, I mean, if you're somebody who's a hunter and you regularly skin game, I would imagine this knife would be good for that as well. But I don't know. No expertise there. You have Chris Reeve's typical hardware here. Should be really easy to get a generic Torx bit and get it in there. I'm really happy with that. It also looks nice and fits the general contouring of the handle, so it's nice and uniform all the way around. Just great. Look how the lines meet up with the jimping down here. This texturing to just add another point of traction for your fingers. The texturing changes directions up here. You know, it's more vertical and then goes sort of diagonally and meets up with those lines there. And that's just nice. That's really nice. I like that a lot. Down here on the bottom of the blade, he puts his logo, which is cool because you get to enjoy this nice sterile blade without seeing a logo there. It would have been just fine if he put it there, but I kind of like how it looks sterile, and I appreciate the fact that he put it down here. The scales also allow for the tang of the blade to shadow box the scales, making for a really nice, good-looking profile, just looking straight on at it like this. Really, really nice. Again, more chamfering right here, angles cut down to meet and to avoid blockiness in the scales. I mean, look at this all the way around. Every last little part of this has been made to just fit this tang perfectly. So nice. This handle is awesome. If you're looking at this and being like, I bet that feels really great in hand, I can almost imagine how well that feels in hand. You're right. However you imagine this, if you imagine this feeling like perfect, and you know it looks like it feels exactly like it does. Does that make sense? Anyways, moving down here, you have something that could be used as a hammer plate, I guess, to drive this blade into something, and probably would also break glass. I imagine it'd take quite a bit to round that out, so I kind of like how that looks. I don't have a problem with it. If it were completely flat, it'd be easier to drive the blade into things, but if it were, then you wouldn't be able to use this back here to break glass. I don't know that I really would need it for either of those things, but something to point out. You have a nice big hole to allow for some 550 paracord, in this case some leather. I don't know if this is exactly what it comes with or if Harry added this. I probably wouldn't put anything back there, and if I did, it'd probably be with paracord, but whatever, however you like to make your lanyards, you know, that works, you know, no issues. As you can imagine, the other side is simply exactly the same as the front, except it says Idaho made right there, and it doesn't say anything over here. Disassembly should be very easy for anybody who wants to make their own scales for this. I would imagine it just loosen all those screws up and put your own scales on it. That's great. Wonderful, wonderful design all the way around. This is my favorite in terms of an ergonomic experience and the shape and the look and everything, and what I would imagine in terms of what I would use this for. This is my favorite fixed blade I've ever handled. There have not been a lot of fixed blades on this channel, and I've handled quite a few since before I started the channel. You'll just have to take my word on that, but I love this thing. I thought the SE3 was ideal for me, and the SE3 is substantially less expensive than this, but this is just so good. It's so good. Jeff, my buddy Jeff, who provides a lot of knives for content on this channel, was like, I really like how that looks, and he ordered one, and I said, did you order one with the black micarta scales? And he was like, no, I ordered the same one that Harry did. And I was like, if you don't mind, order the black one, because down the road I might offer to buy it from you, and I'd really like to have the black. And I know Jeff, he'll play with it for a little bit, and then, you know, if he gets bored of it, then I'm sure he'll sell it to me. But hopefully, maybe you'll like it so much that he'll be like, no, you know what, I don't want to let that go. You can get this right now in both, the tan scales and the black scales at DLT Trading for $250. That's expensive for a fixed blade. That's a lot of money. But you know what? It's a Chris Reeve fixed blade, and I'll be honest with you guys, it's actually less expensive than I thought it was going to be. I was certain that this was going to be a $350 fixed blade. Nope, $250. For that reason right there, $250 right away, right there. It doesn't matter what you're looking at. That's going to turn people off. Sometimes people are going to get turned off automatically. But for what you're getting here, for the obvious attention to detail, the designer and maker obviously catering towards the end user, putting utility first, flash and pomp and frills second. I think $250 is an excellent price. And given that we've seen some prices increase on Chris Reeve knives here in the last few years, I'm kind of shocked this doesn't cost more money. I can 100% recommend this knife. If you're looking for a fixed blade and you like the idea of something that's not incredibly long, you don't need a soldier's knife, you need a good outdoor utilitarian fixed blade that's designed properly, that can be used for a multitude of different things and is utilizing premium materials. Yes, 100%. This is going to go on 2 playlists. It's going to go on my most recommended knives playlist, and it's going to go on my favorite knives of all time playlist. I don't know that there's hardly any fixed blades on that list, but I am so impressed with this. I know you guys are used to me being enthusiastic, like everything's the greatest thing in the world. I know that I do that a lot on this channel, but seriously, guys, this is just wonderful. I love this. I'm a big fan of Rick Hinder, and I'm a huge fan of that Ranch Bowie, and I think that thing's awesome, but it's just a little bit too big for me, and I honestly thought that that would be like my ultimate favorite fixed blade. It's really, really good, but this is just excellent. Now, I have the sheath. I'm sure a lot of you are like, show the sheath. The sheath that Harry sent with it, I don't think is the original sheath. I think this is something else. It looks like it comes with a really nice sheath. I wish that I could show it, but I don't have it here. I would imagine, given the track record of Chris Reeve and what's traditional with his knives, is that the sheath that it comes with is going to fit it perfectly. It looks like online, it's a leather sheath. So that's all I can say about that. Like I said, you can get multiple variants of this, at least on DLT Trading, probably some other places. This is wonderful. Thank you so much, Harry, for letting me take a look at it. I think that's pretty much all I can say, guys. Wonderful, wonderful fixed blade. That's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, or at least found it entertaining, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out, and if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.